The World Register is an independent news source. Our goal is to be a leading provider of truthful, unbiased, and timely reporting about people, places, and events. We currently use other news outlets to provide content and are not responsible for their version of events. Southfront reports today that the Iraqi Popular Mobilization Units, or PMU, have repelled a large Islamic State attack in western Nineveh on the outskirts of Mosul in northern Iraq. According to the report, PMU reached the border with Syria on Monday and started digging trenches and preparing positions in order to secure the recently liberated border area and to prepare for a push to liberate villages north of the important Islamic State-held town of al-Bayaj. The PMU advance will actively be supported by the Iraqi Air Force. The same approach was implemented during the liberation of Kairouan in May. A successful operation by the PMU against the Islamic State in the border area faced a cold response from U.S.-backed forces in Syria. Kurdish security forces affiliated with U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, declared the PMU a threat to the SDF-held area. The report states the SDF will not tolerate any kind of corridor between Iran and the Syrian regime and will oppose any PMU attempt to enter the Syrian territory. WorldNet Daily reports today that a judge called a New Hampshire man a bully vigilante and sentenced him Wednesday to more than 7 years in prison for his role organizing armed backers of Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy after a standoff with U.S. agents in 2014. Jerry DeLemis became the first person sentenced for his ties to the confrontation that became a rallying cry for those who want vast stretches of federal land in the U.S. West put under local control. 18 others are still in custody. The 2014 Bundy standoff was an armed confrontation between supporters of cattle rancher Cliven Bundy and law enforcement following a 20-year legal dispute in which the United States Bureau of Land Management had obtained court orders directing Bundy to pay over $1 million in withheld grazing fees for Bundy's use of federally owned land adjacent to Bundy's ranch in southeastern Nevada. And the Washington Times reports today that according to the 11th Annual Global Peace Index, which bases judgment calls on a complex gauge of social, economic, and political factors, including rates of homicide and terrorism activities, the U.S. is now at number 114, falling 11 places in the last year. The report states Iceland remains the most peaceful country in the world, a position it has held since 2008. It is joined at the top of the index by New Zealand, Portugal, Austria, and Denmark. Syria remains the least peaceful country in the world, followed by Afghanistan, Iraq, South Sudan, and Yemen. Analysts state the U.S. deterioration is primarily driven by the growing intensity of internal conflict within the country, which was partly seen in the divisive 2016 presidential election, as well as increases in perceptions of criminality across American society. The analyst cited the impact of rising homicide rates in 7 major American cities and several terrorist attacks on American soil.